something is happening, and in 2026, it is getting harder and harder to look away. Let's get into it. Let's start with the cold, because the cold this year has not been normal cold. We are not talking about a rough winter. We are talking about record breaking low temperatures hitting 80 million Americans simultaneously. Triple threat weather events, blinding snow, life threatening cold, and ice storms, not snowstorms, ice storms blasting entire cities at once. North Carolina reported more than 1,000 traffic accidents in a single event. Parts of Nashville went without power for 6 days. Some people hit day 7, day 8, and the videos coming out of these areas look like something from a disaster movie. Water freezing the moment it comes out of the faucet, pipes bursting inside homes, entire streets turning into frozen lakes, a toilet frozen solid inside a house. Trees exploding, actually exploding because the sap inside gets so cold it cannot contain itself, and delivery drivers losing their cars to sheets of ice so thick they destroyed vehicles on contact. And then it snowed in Florida. A meteorologist with 35 years in the state said he had never seen the word snow in a zone forecast for the Bay Area until that day. Native Floridians watching snow fall for the first time in their lives. Someone left a cup of water outside in South Florida overnight and found it frozen solid in the morning. In South Florida, now, record cold is one thing. Climate is doing strange things. The polar vortex is disrupted. Solar activity has been elevated. There are explanations, incomplete ones, contested ones, but explanations. And I am not here to tell you that unprecedented cold in Florida is proof of something beyond our current understanding. But then people started looking at the snow itself. And that is where this gets genuinely strange. Videos started circulating of people holding snow up to a lighter. And it was not melting the way snow should melt. It was shrinking slowly, strangely, without producing the volume of water you would expect from that amount of snow. Some people described it as dissolving rather than melting, and the videos spread. And then people started putting it under microscopes. And that is when it got weird. Under magnification, some samples of the snow showed what appeared to be small particles, dark, irregular, not immediately identifiable as anything that should be in snow. One person collected a sample, melted it down completely, boiled it until the water evaporated, and scraped the residue from the bottom of the pan. There was residue, black residue, from snow. That should leave nothing behind but water. Now, I want to be precise here because there are explanations for residue in snow. Snow picks up particulates as it falls, pollution, dust, microplastics, industrial emissions. Urban snow, in particular, almost always contains material that you would not want to drink. The residue from melted snow is not inherently proof of anything unusual. It is something that scientists and environmental researchers have documented in polluted environments for decades. But here is what is genuinely interesting about this story. Two Memphis City Council members, elected officials, not random internet personalities, publicly questioned whether the snow that fell on their city was natural. One said she had a cousin who noticed the snow was dissolving without dripping water. She commented on it online, and then she received death threats. Threats serious enough that she went public about them. Over snow, over snow. Think about that response. Whatever the explanation for the unusual behavior of the snow, whatever the particulates in the microscope images turn out to be, the fact that two elected officials asking questions about it publicly received death threats itself a remarkable data point. Not about the snow, about the conversation around the snow, about how charged and strange that conversation has become. And then there is the sky, because while all of this was happening on the ground, people were pointing their cameras upward and capturing things that they could not explain. In Fresno, outside of Buffalo Wild Wings, which is perhaps the most mundane possible setting for a UFO sighting, a group of people start noticing shapes in the sky. Not round, not like conventional aircraft, irregular. Some of them appear disc-shaped, moving in ways that do not match anything they can identify. Not far away, close enough to see clearly. And they stand there in the parking lot, phones out, genuinely trying to make sense of what they are looking at. And they cannot. And the orbs are back. The orbs that people have been filming for the last year or two, the bright spherical objects that hover and move in ways that conventional aircraft do not move, they are appearing larger now, more dramatic in their movements, more visible, and in some footage, more clearly not any conventional explanation. And then there is the sky turning pink. Multiple locations, multiple videos, cities waking up to a sky that is the wrong color, not sunset pink, not sunrise pink, a deep, unusual, sustained pink that meteorologists are attributing to radiation fog and atmospheric conditions. And maybe that is all it is. But people who have lived in these places their entire lives are filming it and saying, I have never seen this before. This is not what I would expect to see first thing in the morning. Iowa, pink sky, January 2026. So let me just summarize what we have in a single month. Record breaking cold hitting 80 million Americans, snow in Florida for the first time in living memory, snow that under microscope shows unusual particulates and does not melt cleanly. Two elected officials receiving death threats for asking questions about it. Unidentified objects over a Buffalo Wild Wings in Fresno. Orbs appearing larger and moving more dramatically than before. And entire cities waking up to skies that are the wrong color. Any one of those things in isolation explainable. Unusual, but explainable. Record cold happens. Atmospheric phenomena color the sky. UFO sightings happen constantly. Snow picks up pollution. But all of them together. In the same month, in the same year, at the same time that the geomagnetic field is being affected by elevated solar activity, that the polar vortex is disrupted in ways that meteorologists are struggling to model, that NASA is releasing classified UAP footage and admitting it cannot identify a percentage of what its own systems are tracking. Maybe there is an explanation for all of it. Maybe it all fits neatly into the existing frameworks, and we just need to be patient while the scientists work through it. Or maybe, and this is the question I keep coming back to, maybe something is actually changing. Not one thing, not a single dramatic event that announces itself clearly, but a slow accumulation, a creeping strangeness that shows up in the cold and in the snow and in the sky and in the pink mornings and in the orbs that are getting bigger and bolder over suburban parking lots, a pattern that no individual piece fully reveals, but that the aggregate makes hard to ignore. 2026 is getting harder to look away from. That is all I know for certain. See you in the next one.